the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz signed a law mandating racial quotas throughout the state's health departments. So this mandated that there be an ethnic breakdown on all committees within the state's health departments. Bonus, this bill was signed last May, so not that long ago. I don't just want to pull up any article for you though. I'm going to pull up the primary source of this. This is the actual law, so you can see that I am not dramatizing this legislation. This is exactly what is written. You can read it and judge for yourself whether you think that this is appropriate. Okay, so this is the law right here. Health Equity Advisory or Advisory and Leadership, the HEAL Council is what it's called. It says that it's a establishment, quote, or semicolon, composition of advisory council. The Health Equity Advisory and Leadership, or HEAL Council, consists of 18 members appointed by the Commissioner of Health who will provide representation from the following group: African American and African heritage communities, Asian American and Pacific Islander communities, Latino, Latinx communities, American Indian communities and tribal governments and nations, disability communities, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ communities, and representatives who reside outside the 7-county metropolitan metropolitan area. Wow. So yes, it is mandated that all of these health panels have representatives picked on race and sexual orientation as opposed to, based on their credentials or their knowledge of the subject. I believe critics of my interpretation of the law say things like, well, of course, we're going to pick the most knowledgeable people. Like, you're racist for saying a black person or an LGBT person can't be knowledgeable on the subject. And listen, that's not true. I'm sure my audience will agree with me. I wouldn't give a flying fart if the entire committee was composed of black women or gay tribal men. I couldn't care less, as long as the reason that the entire committee is black women or gay tribal men is because those people were picked for the committee to be the best people, not because they're black women or gay tribal men. But where my head is, naturally, is like, hello, is any of this legal? Because I don't think it's legal. This is clearly discrimination based on immutable characteristics. The Washington Free Beacon had a good write-up of this, really talking about kind of the race or the legal aspect of it. It says, from Adam Moratara, he's the lead trial lawyer for the plaintiffs in Students for Fair Admission. This is such gobbledygook nonsense if you don't understand. So this is the individual who led the case against Harvard for standard admissions, allowing Asian Americans to not get in. They have to have higher scores to get in. It won, by the way, but that's an aside. This is somebody who has very good understanding of race-based admissions in colleges or race-based quotas and kind of fighting this. So he says, anytime the government uses a racial classification without a compelling state interest, that is unconstitutional. Hence what we saw. Some of the requirements Walz signed into law are highly granular and involve multiple racial groups. Of course, this article is referencing that bill that we talked about. The article goes on to say it is not clear whether white people who identify as minorities are eligible for the positions. Walz and the Harris campaign did not respond to requests, but where is this? Oh yes, the quotas mark a stark contrast with the image of a vernacular Midwestern moderate that Walz and the people who want him to win have sought to project since he was rolled out in Philly the other week. But, we're going to go through more of his other legacy. But all in all, no matter what you're creating, this is clearly illegal. You can't do this. And why this is so important, why I want to harp on this, is because if Tim Walz is willing to enact a clearly illegal bill into state law, make no qualms, he'll do it on a federal level as well.